Hi friends, have you ever thought about similarities between Google or Band-Aid, which was owned by Johnson and Johnson, or Xerox? Yes, their companies stock did really well for maybe a decade or two, and for few of them, stock is still doing great, but there is little bit more nuance to that. All three started as a small brand, but they actually became an industry in themselves, or at least they become synonym to an industry. You don't say search कर ले, you normally say Google कर ले भाई. और फोटोकॉपी कराने की जगह क्या कहते हैं, जेरोक्स करा लाते हैं. एंड चोट लगती है तो क्या कहते हैं, बैंडेड लगा लो. एंड दिस इज सच अ पावरफुल थिंग to happen to any brand. When any such phenomenon happen to any brand, where brand becomes synonym to a industry, that opens such a huge door for that company, not only from a growth perspective, but to become a single largest or sometimes even a only player in that industry. I first read about this concept during my MBA days, that Google became X, Xerox became Y. But I used to think now our market is so penetrated. For every other thing, we have substitute. Will I ever see a company which will become a category? I thought no. These was a phenomenon of probably 80s and 90s or maybe early 2000, but it can never happen in 2020s. But this, my friend, is happening in front of us in form of Paytm. And that is what we're gonna study today. Paytm is actually a word, a phrase that is used to represent any kind of QR-based payments, any kind of P2P transactions. So we'll study about 197, which is a parent company of Paytm. It's a public listed company in India, as most of you would already know. And we'll study about the business model of Paytm. We'll study about what are the different various things that Paytm is doing, and why do we think Paytm could be next Xerox or Google or Band-Aid for that matter. Let's dive in and see you on the other side. So before we actually jump into details of company, what are the various things this company is doing, what are the various trigger points that this company has. So here is a standard disclaimer from my side. I am not a SEBI registered investment advisor or RA. I am a retail investor myself, so I might have my own vested interest in talking about Paytm. Please do not make any investment decisions of buy and sell based on this presentation. Objective of this presentation is to only talk from education perspective, only is to understand business, how the business is doing, what are the trigger points of business. This is not for financial decision making. Let's move on. So in this video, what we're gonna cover, we'll understand the Paytm ecosystem altogether. What are the regulatory problems that Paytm faced? You would have heard Paytm got listed with a very big fanfare, but actually after listing, the stock went really down south. What are the reasons behind it? There were some regulatory problems also. What happened that, and how Paytm is overcoming those challenges. That is what we'll study. We'll study what is current path to profitability and what is their right to win. We'll study about the PIDF. This is something which is recently in news from last 2 weeks, which is Payment in Infrastructure Development Fund, and what is the impact it has, positive or negative, on Paytm. What are the high-level valuation of the company that we'll study, and we'll also study few KPIs that you, as a weekend investor, as a retail investor, can track quarter on quarter with every business update, whether company is on track on doing good or company is on track to become a next Xerox. So what is Paytm? Paytm primarily is a payment aggregator. They are present across all three segments, which is hardware, software, and services. They provide payment related hardware, they provide payment related softwares and services. In hardware, they start from a basic QR code, sticker based QR code, to sound boxes, to NFC cards, to POS machines. From software perspective, they provide payment gateways, they provide EMI calculators over their payment gateways on over their POS machines. They provide various kind of analytics. They provide any AI routers for medium to small to larger organization, and they provide various services also over and above that. Fraud detection services, various AI agents they provide related to payment authentication. They do reconciliation services. They provide various kind of reporting to the organization. And Paytm provides these hardware, software services, all three, to all the enterprises of various shapes and size. They have a QR code maybe for a vegetable vendor or a roadside vendor also. And whereas they have clients like Amazon or Mintras, where they provide their payment gateways and their omni-channel experience. So they cater to wide variety, right, from entry level to medium level to enterprises, to higher level enterprises. And talking about payment instrument, they deal right from the UPI to gift card. Everything which has payment associated, Paytm has their presence. Debit card payments, credit card payments, net banking payments, EMI based payments, everywhere they provide their services around. So if that is so simple, if it is about payment aggregation and providing payments using the QR code, why people don't understand Paytm business that well? Here's the whole point. Though payment is the most important part of Paytm, but it is much more than Paytm. It's much more than payments. If you have to take away one key information out of this video, this slide is the most important one. I'll talk about the three important pillars of Paytm, and by the end of this slide itself, you'll understand all the cogs, those who are running the machinery of Paytm end to end. Payments, which is the most important vertical of Paytm. Payments is the vertical which we have talked about so far. Providing payment, providing infrastructure related to payments, provided services related to payments, be it a QR code based payments, be it a payment gateway based payment, be it enabling the UPI, taking the bill collections and commissions over that. All that is part of payments. Paytm went through a very bad time, but they were only able to sustain because of this pillar of theirs. This is the highest revenue generation segment for them, and one of the major contributor of their strength. You must have seen the sound boxes uh, which are present at the merchant shops. These sound boxes are given by Paytm on some subscription model. There's a hardware cost which is normally not charged from the merchants. Rather, they pay a very minuscule small amount, 100 rupees, 110 rupees, 150 rupees, whatever is the based on service that they are getting from Paytm month on month to Paytm. And that is the subscription model, which is the core of payments. Payment, though it supports very high GMV, which is gross merchandise value, or kind of payment that is supported via Paytm, but 80% of this payment is UPI. और यूपीआई पे होता क्या है, पेटीएम को कुछ पैसा नहीं मिलता. और अदर आई वुड से मोस्ट ऑफ द यूपीआई पे पेमेंट को पेटीएम को कोई पैसा नहीं मिलता, बिकॉज यूपीआई की जो पेमेंट है एज मैंडेटेड बाय गवर्नमेंट, yet you cannot charge any commission on it. The only way to make money is a peripheral around it. यूपीआई पेमेंट का एक छोटा सा पार्ट है which is a credit card on UPI. So now as you can add your RuPay card on UPI, there you can earn some money as a merchant. There is a MDR, which is a merchant discount rate. That is a very small commission, 3 to 4 bips kind of a commission that is earned by all the merchants in the value chain when payment is made on UPI by credit card. So as I said, in payments, major revenues coming from subscription. But there are other categories also within payments which are contributing to the revenue of Paytm, like EMI. Whenever you opt for EMI and payment is supported by Paytm, or this EMI is supported by Paytm, in that case, Paytm earns for contributing or for converting your payment from one time to EMI. And that factor and this segment has contributed quite a bit in payment growth during the festive season, because now many people are taking goods on EMI, and these EMI on the stores, you know, offline stores like Vijay Sales on Chroma, these offline stores also take services of Paytm to provide these EMIs through app. That is done, and obviously there's a full value chain, which is a card provider where you're taking EMI on card. There's obviously the merchant, which is the shop which is giving you the product, and the infrastructure and the service which is provided by the Paytm in between. So everyone earns when EMI based payment is made. Paytm uses this pillar of finance or payments as a customer acquisition engine. उन्होंने अपने साउंड बॉक्सेस मोर देन 1.4 करोड़ मर्चेंट्स तक पहुंचा दिए हैं, जहां से उनको रेगुलर सब्सक्रिप्शन मिल रहा है. नाउ दिस साउंड बॉक्स is a magic box for Paytm. And all these merchants who are doing their transaction using Soundbox, इस Soundbox के जरिए Paytm is collecting their data of their finance, which is supposed to be an unorganized sector, but Paytm is kind of having a monopoly on this finance data of merchants. And because of that, their second pillar, which is financial services distribution, becomes really, really important. Whatever move you have seen in Paytm in last 6 months, almost a 2x move that has happened, that has happened because of this segment. This is because of this pillar, which is financial services distribution business of Paytm. Again, within this, there are multiple categories, but the most important category is merchant loan. They are doing loans, and within loans, they are doing merchant loans and consumer loans, so which is a kind of a B2B loan and a B2C loan. But let's talk about B2B first, which is the merchant loan, which is the most important, mm, highest growing, most profitable business for Paytm. Now they have placed their soundbox at the merchant shop. On this soundbox, they are getting daily reporting. How much business is this shop doing from UPIs? They can always extrapolate as their total income. Now, based on this crucial data for the shop, which was not present anywhere else, Paytm is able to facilitate loans for these merchants. And mind you, especially the mid-tier segment or the lower segment of merchants, they do not get the loans easily. They have to either rely on a gold loan or a personal loan. But now they are getting a very favorable business loan just because of using a sound box. What Paytm has done, Paytm has tied up with NBFCs, and NBFCs are actually giving loan. Paytm की बुक्स पे अपना कुछ नहीं है. Paytm is only facilitator. Paytm क्या लेता है? Paytm charges is finder's fee. Paytm says, and banks also realize this is high asset, high quality segment, क्योंकि मेरे को उसका डेली का डाटा है, एंड नॉट ओनली डेली का डाटा है, Paytm by using its soundbox is able to deduct a daily EDI or EMI in a daily form from this box. They know कलेक्शन कितना हुआ है, दे नो डेली का उसको पेमेंट कितना करना है, वो डायरेक्टली पेटीएम से ही कर जाता है, एंड दैट गोस टू द बैंक और एनबीएफसी विच एवर इज फैसिलिटेटिंग दैट लोन. जो पेटीएम को पहले मिली फाइंडर्स फीस विच इज अप्रोक्सीमेटली 3 to 4% ऑफ टोटल लोन. अगर किसी मर्चेंट ने 1 लाख रुपए का लोन लिया, 3 से 4 हजार रुपए पहले दिन ही पेटीएम को मिल जाते हैं एज अ फॉर्म ऑफ फाइंडर्स फी. Then, because Paytm is also facilitating this payment reversal, which is a payment which is coming back, or a EDI collection, they get a collection revenue. And this collection revenue is also approximately 2%. So, net share 5 to 6% is what Paytm is making on any loan that it is giving to merchants. The highest growing segment, and they have kind of monopoly in this. Even when we say Paytm is from payment perspective, but the major strength that they are building around is on merchant loans. That is there. They're also doing personal loan through their app to the person on a B2C, but that is little riskier because obviously they do not have that much data of the person, what the data that they have from merchants primarily, because they are getting all the transaction of merchant, but they are not getting transactions from uh, customers which are in a B2C format. But still, now that the credit cycle is improving, this personal loan can also become a good trigger point for Paytm in near future, and we'll talk about that in detail just little in a while. Another important part of this financial service distribution is credit on UPI. Please don't confuse it with credit card on UPI. This is credit on UPI. So आज से 2 साल पहले जब पेटीएम पे बैन लगाया था आरबीआई ने because of their payment bank, they had a very important product with them, which was BNPL, buy now pay later. And major problem was with this product only because they had very arms like distance between their one entity, which is Paytm One97, and the payment banks, because they had a payment bank license also at that time. And this arm length distance is what was creating a problem for Paytm, because all the accounts of these consumers were in payment banks, where they are doing business entity within 197, and that was the whole play which got them in soup at that time. But now they have solved it. They are not exactly doing BNPL, which is buy now pay later. What they are doing right now is what they are calling is Paytm postpaid. Paytm postpaid is buy now, pay next month. This is what they are doing. Buy now, pay next month is kind of OD on your UPI, overdraft on UPI, which is a very uniquely thought product. Again, nothing on their books. They have tied up with Suryodaya Bank, Small Finance Bank, and that is where, again, a very huge trigger point for growth for Paytm. This BNPL business earlier itself had a loan book of approximately 5,000 crores before it got shut 2 years back. And they have just started in September, October 2025 dispersing this loan. They are saying in the latest con call which happened yesterday, they are saying they are still very stringent in giving these loans, but this is growing well. That was a statement which was made by both CFO and MD of the company. So very, very important trigger, very, very important segment from financial service distribution perspective. Third part of financial service distribution is Paytm Money, which is growing a bit, but I'm not very confident on this part of the business. One, because this is a wealth management business, which lot many players are doing, but they provide equity, they provide broking, they provide mutual fund using their Paytm Money app. And I believe if someone needs a mutual fund, they go to Zerodha or Grow or Angel. They might not come to Paytm Money as such. And this is highly, highly, highly competitive. Because it is competitive, they will have to spend a lot of money in advertising this, customer acquisition. But at was the latest data, this segment is also growing a bit, and that is because of their MTF facility, or the MTF percentage, which is 7.7%, which they are able to get to their broking client. In short, very important segment. Any future growth, any analyst who is banking on Paytm today is because of this segment, which is financial services distribution, and especially in that is merchant loan. Right now, though, 56% of their revenue comes from payments, 25 to 26% comes from financial services. But this gap is closing. Payment percentage wise is decreasing, and financial services is increasing month on month, quarter on quarter. Another important vertical, which is marketing services. Now, monthly transacting users for Paytm is approximately 7.6 crores. And they have Soundbox placed at around 1.4 crores users. So this is kind of a real estate that they have, which they can monetize for various brand activities, various tie-ups for advertisements. They are monetizing that, and this segments contribute to 16 to 17% of their revenue based on FY25. They have a ticketing business, travel ticketing. Events is something which they have sold out to Zomato a couple of years back, and that also they have sold because they have said they want to focus only on their payments and financial service distribution business. That is where they are more interested in. That is where they see the larger growth is. That is where they see there is right to win for them. Another, because of fintech company or technology company, they are banking quite a bit on AI. And it's not that it's just a buzzword for them. They have already reduced their employee cost by 15 to 16%, and they openly claim that it's because of AI. And it's not that they're saving that cost and passing it on to PBT or PAT, profit before tax or profit after tax. What they are doing is, and so nicely, let's say they are saving on an employee cost on a non-sales member. At the same time, they are increasing their sales team, because sales team is the one which can go out in market and bring them moolas, will bring them revenue. And the non-sales team probably is where the cost optimization is happening, where automation is happening, where they have already have products for payment, they already have products for financial services, which they are growing with the help of sales team and technology. That's how. And what they're also saying, that was only from a cost side, the AI. Now they are utilizing AI to get revenue. They have just released a newer version of Soundbox, which is AI driven, which helps reconciliation on AI, which maybe a user can talk to. It's an interface. What's their daily collection is, what is the largest amount of bill that they have got today, and all those query based informative AI information that they can get to their merchants, and merchant are liking it. Merchant, whatever the POCs that they have done for the merchants, that's very helpful for them, and that has come from the scuttle bar. As I said, from a revenue this contribution perspective, payment services give 56% of the revenue, financial services give 24 to 25% of the revenue, and marketing gives 16 to 17% of the revenue. And net payment revenues, payment processing charges, device subscription, everything is part of payment. Commissions on lending products, which is loans, brokerage on insurance, mutual fund capital, that is Paytm money, that's contribute to their financial services part, and that ticketing revenue, advertising revenue is part of marketing services. And as I was saying, the first graph, it talks about how their consolidated revenue has moved over the years. And if you look at it, FY24 number, they have still not reached because of the blip that has happened in because of the ban in December 24. Now the growth rate is again back to 20 plus. And they are expected to overcome their FY24 numbers by FY27. How they will be able to do? See the second graph. This is where, see the orange part, which is the financial services. Year on year, this is growing, which was a 5% in 2021, has already crossed 25% in FY25 and expected to go till 31% of their total revenue by FY28. That is where the magic is happening, and this is where the story of Paytm is. Before we move ahead, and though I gave you a very brief idea, please understand what went wrong, which resulted in crash after Paytm came to public bourses. Paytm IPO'd. So post IPO, there was an intense market scrutiny that happened with Paytm because they were burning cash, they were not profitable at all, and there was no MDR that was coming out of UPI GMV. So obviously, financial pressure was there, and they took banking license. When we did, and any company which is not making money, which is not profitable, is always already is in radar of SEBI and RBI. Because they take payment banks, they came in radar for RBI also, and SEBI because of the IPO, the listed stock that they had. Now, when they took payment bank, they were already not money making, they were burning cash, they were coming from a startup mindset. उनका motive था growth करने का. They wanted to acquire more and more merchant fast and fast because they believed in winner take all market. They wanted कि मैं अगर पहले पहुंच गया, मेरा साउंड बॉक्स लग गया, तो फिर दूसरा कंपटीटर आके अपना साउंड बॉक्स नहीं लगा पाएगा. They were burning cash to get to a merchant. So much so, their cost of customer acquisition was approximately 5 times of their lifetime value that they were collecting from a vendor, or the total MDR they were able to collect. So 2613 was a quota from a number reported in FY24 to 556 is what their LTV was for any customer on which they have already spent 2613. Completely loss-making scenario. And because of the financial pressure, and there are some irregularities, those were there, which I talked about. There's less than an arm length distance between Paytm Bank and Paytm, because of which RBI on January 31, 2024 took action against Paytm Bank and asked them to close it. And all the wallet business, all the FASTag business, all the loan business just became zero in a single day. It didn't happen in a day, obviously. They were warned by RBI earlier, probably they ignored it. There was, as I said, VSS Vijay Shekhar Sharma was part of both the entity. He was director in one, MD in another, and there are a lot of transactions, especially the loan banks account were in payment banks for the loan clients of Paytm. That was one. There are some problems related to KYC of the people also, the customer also. That was also the factor that contributed um, to the scrutiny from RBI, which actually resulted in this fact. But in short, the business dropped drastically in FY25 because ban came in January 31. From 1st April onwards, new financial year started, and they had almost lost everything. And one of the major ban part that they had in this time was they were not able to add any customer in the duration. क्योंकि वो कस्टमर ऐड नहीं कर पा रहे थे, they were not able to sell, and they were only doing business for their existing customers, which was a major blip for them. So keeping that in mind, see how things have changed in last couple of years. From the latest quarter reports, the GMV, the gross merchandise value, from December 24 to December 25 quarter has improved 24%. Although still 80% of GMV is linked with zero MDR UPI, but now their payment processing margin, which is because of multiple things, primarily credit card on UPI or EMI, this approximately sits at 4 bips. Still a healthy number, which is improving. The net payment revenue. The net payment revenue in this case is the gross revenue that we make out of payments, minus if they have to pay anything to a card vendor, a credit card vendor, or the bank or anything, which is left with them. That has grown for approximately 25% year on year from December 24 to December 25, which stands at 613 crore right now. That is all part of their payment vertical. And so if you look, 6.2 lakh crore is the gross merchandise value, 6.13 is what the net payment. So that's approximately 0.1% of the GMV that they able to convert into net payment revenue. And subscribed merchant, as I was mentioning earlier also, has increased by 27 lakhs within a year. That is 1.17 crore to 1.44 crores. And these are subscribed merchant. Subscribed merchant are those who are paying them monthly, even if they're as small as 100 rupees to as go to few thousands maybe. That's where the growth is. Within last quarter also, it has come from 1.37 crores to 1.44 crores. So that's approximately 7 lakhs of new merchant those have got added in last quarter. Another important figure to see is 7.6 crores monthly transacting user on Paytm. So Paytm Karo is actually working in this case. People are still stick to Paytm, and they have gained a market share which is very difficult to topple. From a consumer engagement perspective, as I said, monthly transacting user is 7.6 crore. The consumer UPI segment, people paying on UPI, is growing at 35% YoY. Whereas the industry average of this UPI is approximately 16%. But because of their AI first product led strategy, they are able to get to 35%, which is more than double the industry average growth in UPI segment. This might not be contributing anything to revenue, but that's the beauty of it. Payments is their customer acquisition engine for loans, for services, for sound boxes. Still, payments are profitable. They are still, as I mentioned, they are earning 613 crore per quarter. That's approximately annualized to be 2400 crores, 2400-2500 crore का business आ रहा है पेमेंट से. So it's not to be ignored. But वो margin कहाँ से आ रहा है इसमें? This margin is coming from UPI, ऑलमोस्ट जीरो की तरफ आता है. उस पर जो क्रेडिट कार्ड यूज होता है उससे ज्यादा पैसे आते हैं, डेबिट कार्ड क्रेडिट कार्ड से, और सबसे ज्यादा जो पैसा आता है वो ईएमआई से आता है. यूपीआई का छोटा सा ब्लिप्स दे रहा है कि कुछ इंसेंटिव्स इन्हें कई बार लोगों से मिल जाते हैं, विच इज गवर्नमेंट से, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से, अदर फॉर्म में. उसी का एक फॉर्मेट है पीआईडीएफ, जिसपे अपन आगे बात करेंगे, जिसकी जो PIDF की वजह से पेटीएम का स्टॉक अभी 10% क्रैश करा था लास्ट वीक के अंदर. विल टॉक अबाउट दैट टू. सेकंड सेगमेंट में चलते हैं, विच इज फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज, जिसका रेवेन्यू क्वार्टरली 672 करोड़ का हम रेवेन्यू की बात कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे, which has increased from 502 crores to 670 crore to current quarter on quarter. Payments का foundation है, which is the filter which comes in. They give credit, distribute credit to those payment users, merchant loans and Paytm Postpaid. Paytm Postpaid की मैंने बात करी थी, which was a new form of BNPL. This is also they are only giving to merchants. It's not that they are going to the consumer. They're still giving to merchants only, which is spend now and pay next month. कोई क्रेडिट कार्ड रिक्वायर्ड नहीं है, सिर्फ यूपीआई से जो उनका कलेक्शन है वहां से उनका कटता रहेगा. दे कैन डायरेक्टली पे फ्रॉम यूपीआई. देन फ्रॉम दिस दे push their wealth management product, the stock and mutual fund, where equity broking or MTF PSA, and because of the volatility in market, that has helped them grow in last quarter. The fourth, चार इंपॉर्टेंट चीज क्या होगी फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के लिए? लोन्स, क्रेडिट कार्ड्स, वेल्थ मैनेजमेंट और पोस्टपेड. जो फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज का बिजनेस है, दैट हैज आल्सो इंक्रीज 34%. हमारा पेमेंट वाला 24-25% ही ग्रो कर रहा था, बट financial service business has grown 34%. That's why I was saying this is the highest growing business for them, and people are banking on Paytm because of this. Another important figure in this, though December 24 to December 25, you see 502 to 670 crore. Another important number is the financial services customer has increased 5.9 lakhs to 7.1 lakh. And this they are saying has increased despite of lower focus on high revenue DLG. DLG एक concept होता है, it is default loss guarantee. ये जो लोन के प्रोडक्ट कर रहे थे ना, इसमें ये लोन गारंटी भी देते थे मोस्टली अपने बैंक्स को या एनबीएफसी को जिनसे बुक्स पे लोन होता था, बिकॉज द लोन अल्टीमेटली समटाइम्स देयर आर बैड लोन्स, एंड दीज बैड लोन्स अगर हो जाते थे, देन पेटीएम हैड टू गिव देयर फीस. जो 4% और 2% हमने फीस की बात करी थी, they had to forego that fees to the bank in case of आप loan goes NPAs or is not furnished, जिसकी वजह से ऑब्वियसली उन्हें ज्यादा कमीशन, ज्यादा रेवेन्यू मिलता था. बट नाउ व्हाट, एज पर स्ट्रेटेजी, दे आर मूविंग अवे फ्रॉम इट, एंड बैंक्स आर आल्सो ओके विद इट, बिकॉज बैंक्स नो देयर एसेट क्लास जो है इनकी वो बहुत अच्छी है, इनके पास डाटा बहुत अच्छा है, इनकी एआई बहुत अच्छी है, सो दे आर एबल टू कैप्चर गुड मार्केट. एंड दैट्स व्हाट आई एम सेइंग, नाउ देयर फोकस इज ऑन नॉन डीएलजी प्रोडक्ट. जो डीएलजी वाले प्रोडक्ट है, जो हाई रेवेन्यू होता है, उस पर फोकस ही नहीं है, नॉन डीएलजी प्रोडक्ट पे फोकस है. स्टिल दे आर एबल टू ग्रो बाय 34% फ्रॉम क्वार्टर ईयर ऑन ईयर बेसिस. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस. जो ग्रोथ है ऑब्वियसली प्राइमरली लोन फीस के अंदर है, जो वेल्थ मैनेजमेंट वाला पार्ट है वो भी छोटा है, बट हाईएस्ट ग्रोथ जो इनके पास आ रही है दैट इज फ्रॉम लोन फीस पर्सपेक्टिव. लोन के दोनों पोर्टफोलियो की हमने बात कर ली है. वन इज मर्चेंट लोन, अनदर इज पर्सनल लोन. ऑन मर्चेंट लोन साइड EI led execution हो रही है. They are able to identify who are the good paying capacity merchant who can pay back their loan well. They give loans to them. They have to tie up with the NBFCs. They get their finance fees. They get their collection fees, and they are moving towards non-DLG. पर्सनल लोन में थोड़ा सा ब्लिप है. कुछ एक दो सेटलमेंट इनको करनी पड़ी थी लास्ट क्वार्टर के अंदर. They had to take a one-time hit in September 25 quarter, but industry wide things are improving now. Credit cycle is improving now, so you will also see that impact on Paytm personal loan book also going forward. Average ticket size में 1 to 2 लाख के बीच में होता है, और ग्रोथ बुक साइज के अंदर डेफिनेटली है, बट जैसे जैसे पर्सनल लोन की साइकिल इंप्रूव होगी ओवरऑल मार्केट की, बैंक्स को लेके, एनबीएफसी को लेके, डेफिनेटली इट विल कम एंड शो इन पेटीएम आल्सो. बट जो मेजर फ्लाई व्हील है दैट इज मर्चेंट लैंडिंग. This is and this is cyclical. These are not a long term loan. These are very small term loan. So let's say a partner first takes a loan, they repays. As they repays, more and more data is collected by Soundboxes and Paytm, which gives a repeat business or repeat. They are able to get repeat loan because of their activity of paying the first loan. Then, and there's a high chances the loan size will increase next time, their retention will increase, and banks will also be very eager to pay to them. Obviously, credit score of the merchant will also increase and all those activities because of this flywheel. First, this is a faster flywheel. The same money can be churned again and again, but still Paytm will always get their 5 to 6% because they are getting it. This is a new loan. Even if I take 1 lakh rupee loan every month, Paytm will get their 5,000 every month. Even it's the same money. They pay 1 lakh, they repay it back in 3 months, then they take 1 lakh again, then repay back in 3 months. Still, Paytm is every time getting the money. That's the important part. They've already shifting their risk mitigation from DLG to non-DLG. Distribution revenue is going up 63% year on year from September perspective. From this year perspective, have grown up 34% because the base is obviously increasing, and they are also now not only dependent on single NBFC or single bank. They are doing tie-ups with other banks because this is a no-brainer for them. साउंडबॉक्स है, डाटा है, मर्चेंट को लोन चाहिए, इनके पास एक बैंकर है, ये बैंकर और मर्चेंट को मिला रहे हैं, एंड दे आर टेकिंग देयर कमीशन आउट. एंड consider the data. Forget not only 1.44 subscribe amount, the monthly transacting user are 7 crores. These 7 crore users will also shift to their sound boxes slowly and steadily when they see the value. And that's where the flywheel will grow and increase rapidly. Postpaid, Paytm Postpaid we talked about. They have just relaunched it. Partner for them is Surya, the small finance bank, Suryodaya SFB. Another important thing that they mentioned, and they mentioned this in September, that is Q2 FY26 con call. This earlier, when they were doing BNPL, all the loan used to sit on their book. पेटीएम बैंक से जो इनका पार्टनर था अपना ही, वहीं से इनकी बुक्स में वो लोन था, और ये लोन दे देते थे अपने कंज्यूमर को, अपने यूजर को, एंड दे वर अर्निंग आई थिंक 60 to 70 बिप्स की वहां पे अर्निंग होती थी. इन लास्ट कॉन कॉल दे मेंशन्ड even on the new products they are able to get plus minus 20 bips as good as last product, even when now they have no risk, no exposure of money. That exposure all sits with NBFC bank now. Still they are able to charge 40 to 50 bips on that loan. Isn't that wonderful? See, if this postpaid is able to go back to the earlier level, which it might not go that easily, because it was years and years of effort that took it to 5,000 crore loan book. But right now, even if it's a very small 100 200 CR kind of a business, the potential is huge, and they are able to make their money. They are able to make almost the same money. Only difference is 20 bips in the last product and this product. Amazing strategy. Coming to the last vertical from business standpoint, which is the marketing services. Now, as I mentioned, they have 1.3, 1.4 crore users who have the soundbox. What they are doing is monetizing this soundbox as a real estate, as a advertising space. They can run various advertisements on those. They are utilizing their app, they're utilizing their web, they're utilizing any place where they can do, and without compromising on user experience. They have cleaned their website, they're cleaned their app, but for the high revenue, high ROI kind of a business, they are doing some tie-ups for advertisements and marketing. They have just launched Paytm Check-in. Paytm Check is a new AI-led travel app where you can go, converse, and plan your travel. Isn't that wonderful? People are doing that, and they have just launched this. Go and check this product. They're using this advertising services because, again, this is all linked to data that they have. Earlier, this advertisement data was only with Google, right? Google based on your search, Google based on your activities that you're doing on your desktop on mobile, giving you targeted advertisement, right? Now, Paytm has your financial data. Paytm can tell you whether you can afford an iPhone or not. That's why you should be seen a iPhone ad or not. This is what they are doing. And there is a quarter-on-quarter growth of 4% by revenue of 238 crore. So yearly revenue it has reduced because some part of the marketing business they are not focused now. They are either shell that off or they are not getting any revenue from it now. But from last quarter to this quarter, which is uh, apple to apple comparison, they have increased 4% on this. Still, I will say main focus is first two segments: payment to acquire and financial services to earn from. Marketing services expected CAGR, which is between 25 to 28, is 20% for them, which is again 200-250 crore का business यहाँ से ये easily है, which can grow at 20% space. As I said, payments is what is getting the new customer inside, and this cog is very nicely connected with the financial services, which is making them end-to-end money. This is what is fueling their financial services business, and this is what is getting them the valuation which market is giving them now. They sit as of today, they sit at a market cap of 72,000 crores, all because of these two things: payments and financial services. They acquire, then mine, and monetize. So see at this pyramid, their entry level merchant, they use a free mobile QR code. People can go pay to them. They are not contributing to any kind of money or revenue to Paytm. Whereas as soon as they move to small retailer, they are using a small sound box with a monthly subscription of 100, 200, 250 rupees, where they get first time they get to use of AI of Paytm. The comfort, the trust that they get out of that sound box. That's where the first revenue starts. Then they move to mid and large retailer. That's where they give POS machine, where card can be swiped, card can be tagged, QR code can be generated on the POS machine itself. That's what the mid and large retailers are using. Then there are online merchants, those who uses a payment gateway from Paytm. And if it's online and offline, that's where the omni-channel merchant is, which takes a POS machine also, which takes a online payment gateway also, which takes EMI solution also, and that's the highest category of merchant, which is a top mining merchant for them. And they are doing this right from entry level to omni-channel merchant. They have solution for everyone, which is so important, and that's a full value chain. A vendor, a vegetable vendor, a shopkeeper, to a mid-sized store, to a Vijay Sales, to Electronic Bazaar, to maybe a Flipkart and shopper stops. Everyone is using a Paytm in a way. AI-led operating leverage is what they're focused on. First, they talked about cost efficiency. Employee cost was reduced, but then they reutilized that for revenue expansion. They are giving AI soundbox, which I talked about, which gives them payment alert, which talks about fraud saving, which helps them monetize better for the normal soundbox, which is now reaching everywhere. So Cost reduction was phase one. Phase two is product, which is AI soundbox and user retention. And then they have revenue model where they give merchant insights. When they commerce cloud, where a new revenue line is what they can are planning to start based on this AI engine. I think I talked about the smart hiring move where the ROI focused employees are getting hired at Paytm. In Q2 itself, they hired approximately 5,000 salespeople, and they are directly contributing to the growth and revenue of the organization. So reduction on the non-sales side and employee cost, you see employee cost gets increased on the sales side of it. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. What is PIDF and why market just by one announcement from Paytm reacted so badly? Market PIDF is Payment Infrastructure Development Fund. So what government was saying, think about it. You are Paytm, you have to provide a payment infrastructure, which is very, very, very critical. You cannot have any error. You have to be cyber secure. You have to provide it in every nook and corner of the country. And still you cannot make any money out of it. This is unfair, right? Why would any company go and set up a sound box or a QR code in a tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, tier 6 town or a village of this country when they not see any value out of it or any money out of it? So that's where government of India was giving a PIDF, which was a Payment Infrastructure Development Fund, to all these vendors for setting up tier 3 to tier 6 deployments. But as per the latest information, Paytm has said that this scheme was only applicable till December 31st, and there is no renewal that has happened after that. There is a direct impact of approximately 206 crores, which they have got in first 9 months of the FY26 calendar. But as per the latest con call also, and as per my understanding also, removing of PIDF is removing of PIDF is actually good for Paytm. It's like a drawbridge. Drawbridge क्या होता है? मोट होते हैं जो महल के आसपास मोट होते हैं. मोट की स्टोरी हर इन्वेस्टर ने सुनी होगी. व्हाट्स द बिजनेस मोट इज. मोट को कवर करने के लिए महल के बाहर पैसल के बाहर यू हैव सीन एक ड्रॉब्रिज टाइप ऑफ वुडन प्लैंक्स होते थे, which used to be work as a door also and they used to work as a bridge also. तो ये ड्रॉब्रिज है, ये मोट के ऊपर होता था, हमारी सेना आ जाती थी और जैसे सेना आ जाती थी ड्रॉब्रिज को खींच लिया जाता था. This is exactly what has happened with PIDF. First, based on this drawbridge, government fund, which was PIDF, few companies, very limited, and where Paytm is a pioneer in, were able to establish their network everywhere in tier 3, tier 4, tier 6. Now this bridge has moved up or has taken back. Nobody can actually go and create a payment business now because there is no fund from government. Ultimately, there is no money that they are making. There might be some money which might actually also come as a part of a budget today itself. While I'm recording this, it has not been announced yet. But no new player can come. And only player who has monetization capability out of this soundbox is Paytm. So this is actually a best thing that could have happened to Paytm, right? So that's what the same thing Vijay Shekhar Sharma also said in today's con call. Time of subsidy has gone. Now it is actual time to do a revenue-based business. You never know. There could be a MDR on UPI. That could be one thing. Or there could be other ways by which these companies can make revenue. Now the penetration of UPI QR code has happened properly. This is what a PIDF means. This is calling off a PIDF means. Now it is very easy. If it is a loss of 200 crore, 210 crores subsidies for Paytm, there are 1.4 crore subscription devices which are there across India. If Paytm is able to increase just 10 rupees per month on subscription on these devices, they will be making more than 200 crores of that. Right? So easy to do it. And if you feel no, just because of this, they will not increase even 10 rupees per month, even when they have a pricing power, even if they are the only player that is giving all this facility, they can easily navigate PIDF just by higher MDR mix, which might come by government, by credit card payments, by EMI payments, and they can have already talked about targeted sales that they can put in. So the loss which is happening approximately 126 crore, as it was said in H1 FY26, or 216 crore that has happened in the 9 months, just by small MDR mix and targeted sales, they were able to match that. And I'm sure just and company also hinted that a small revenue increase from subscription itself will be offsetting it. Mind you, only Paytm can do this. Other competitors in this do not have a payment mechanism. Where will they increase it? That's the best part. And the kind of penetration that Paytm has, this is a very small offset they can easily do. So in a way, the fall that has happened is a blessing in disguise. A PIDF taken back is good for a company like Paytm. Another important thing for Paytm is all those regulatory things that I talked about are behind. They have now full-fledged online, offline, cross-border payment aggregate license for their entity. They got first license in October 2025. Then NPCI also approved to add new users, which was not there for more than 18 months for the organization. They were not able to add new users. Now they can. This was granted in October 2024. And in November 2025, they also got a cross-border PA license. What they have done from a regulatory standpoint, earlier, where it was a mix of payment banks, online payment business, everything was so linked together, they have cleared and moved to a very clean structure where 197 has their own subsidiary, which is a payments service limited, PPSL, which has all three PAs with them, which is license payment aggregator, ऑनलाइन ऑफलाइन क्रॉस बॉर्डर, तीनों के लाइसेंस इनको मिल गए, तीनों के लाइसेंस पीपीएसएल के मिल गए, और विजय शेखर शर्मा खुद इस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को हेड करने लगे. फोकस इज ऑन दिस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन विच इज अ होल सोल सब्सिडी नाउ. और पेमेंट बैंक से अब कुछ लेना देना नहीं है, बिकॉज अब ये लोन खुद अपनी बुक पे कर ही नहीं रहे. सारा लोन एनबीएफसी या दूसरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के साथ कर रहे हैं. एंड they have shown now they are past that growth at any cost model. They are allocating their capital well. They are divesting their non-core asset. Zomato को 2000 करोड़ में इन्होंने अपना टिकटिंग वाला बिजनेस दिया था, वो कैश इनके पास पड़ा है. वो बिजनेस they could have grown, but they don't want to focus on that. They're already sold their stock acquisition rights in PayPay Corp Japan. Similarly, 5000 एम्प्लॉइज की जो मैंने बात करी है, the ROI focused decision is what they are taking. And They have more than 12,000 crore cash on their balance sheet right now. Focus is very clear. Focus on payments, focus on financial distribution. That's what they did. Another optionality that's there with the business is international expansion. They are targeting markets like UAE, Saudi, Singapore, where either directly or with the help of their partners, they can just replicate the India stack. इंडिया स्टैक उनके पास है, टेक्नोलॉजी उनके पास है, नो हाउ उनके पास है, ग्रोथ एक्सपेंशन प्लान उनके पास है. They can easily curate in similar geography organizations. Singapore, Saudi Arabia, UAE is their first target. They are saying results of this will be visible in 2 to 3 years. And this building can grow effectively at 25% year on year. Let's look at some key operational metrics which are just launched, which are just announced in our Q3 results. Registered merchant, we already talked about 4.3 to 4.8. These are registered merchants. These are not paid merchants. Paid merchants are 1.17 to 1.44 crore in a year. GMV has increased from 5 to 6.2. Total sales employees have also increased from 32,000 to 44,000. That's where the focus is on ROI focused users where they wish to target on. Financial service customers have increased from 5.9 lakhs to 7.1 lakhs. From a financial standpoint, look at this. Payment service business from 1,000 to 1,200 approximately. Financial service business from 500 to 672. Approximately 30% jump, 34% jump. 20% jump here, 34% jump here. Marketing services has gone down because of the reason I mentioned earlier. And revenue has exploded 20% from last 1 year. From a 9-month basis, this revenue is up 24%. 25% का target है for the revenue for the next year. Margin, if you look at it, now they are doing a 7% margin. And this margin is coming because they are keeping their indirect cost constant. Indirect cost को constant कर दिया, revenue उनका बढ़ रहा है, margin बढ़ेगा ना? That is what the game is. Q3, Q4 last year में जब negative था, that has become a constant positive now. 4%, 6.8%, 7%. EBITDA is now 156 crore and growing. This is the profitability inflection point. This is where the J curve is. Companies themselves saying उनकी indirect cost नहीं बढ़ेगी, उनका revenue बढ़ेगा, तो EBITDA बढ़ेगा, तो उनका PAT बढ़ेगा. That's the J curve. Marketing जो उनका vertical है, उसमें तो कोई capex है ही नहीं, right? Capex उनका payment में है. Even तो loan business है, उसमें सिर्फ employee cost है, sales वाली. बाकी सब loan book तो उनकी बाहर है. Technology उनकी भी बनी हुई है. Obviously, it's an ever-growing thing. They will keep on increasing. AI is anyways is very fast-paced. They have to innovate. That's where the tech team is. But capex perspective से सिर्फ पहला vertical है उनका, जहां उनको capex लगाना है primarily. So indirect cost is constant. That is even evident from the numbers, and revenue is growing, which is giving a expanding EBITDA margin. From FY26 perspective, this is expected to be 7.7%. This EBITDA within 2 years can actually take 15 to 16%. कहां से आएगा EBITDA? Just look at it. This is a unit economics that I made for FY26. Keeping everything constant, employee expense which is decreasing. Just by this employee expense and indirect cost, this is reaching 6.9 to 7% for the year. I'm coming from FY25 to 26. Now look at it for 28. Just by employee expenditure decreasing from 30% to 24%, 25%, and indirect cost decreasing from 10.4 to 7.7%, this EBITDA can go up to 15 to 16%, as I just said. That's a unit economics, I believe. And this has come from a research report. And whatever they are guiding, they are able to execute it. They said they will focus on core business. That's what they are doing. They said they will go through a profitability. That's where they are going. They have got their BNPL in a new avatar already there. Their merchant loans are increasing. And in yesterday's con call, they have said now they will get their wallet business back too. That will be an inflection point. That's what we need to focus on. Few key performance that everyone should track on every business update, every quarterly result, how much devices they are adding every period. What's the net payment margin? Whether the net payment margin is increasing or not, that will mean whether their UPI segment is growing or their EMI segment is growing, their credit card segment is growing. Because major money is coming, payment margin is coming from here, right? Current payment margin is 4 bips. What is the financial service take rate? In the financial service rate, which is Paytm Money, what's the take rate that their company is able to take? Whether indirect expense, as management has guided, is constant or not. That's what you need to track. Very simple. Look for some, what is the scaling number for postpaids? The postpaid which they have launched, spend now, pay next month, whether that is growing or not. That's all we need to watch. And we need to track if there is any trends in improving of net, whether there's a reversal in trends of improving of net payment margins, or if there is any significant spike in marketing. In this quarter itself, they have increased some commercial activity. They have just mentioned it, but that is also showing in revenue. We need to see where they are spending these advertisements. They are sending the advertisement to grow their payment segments and their financial distribution segment. They use this to publish their MTF facilities, which they are giving to their equity broking clients. So they were able to make more than what they have spent. That's our investment thesis. We'll skip that. But in short, the turnaround has completed. It is a PAT positive company now. EBITDA margin is on expansion from negative to 0 to 4 to 7 to 11 to 15. That is what I'm seeing on EBITDA side. PIDF market is worried about it, but it's actually a mode for Paytm. PIDF will ensure no other company can venture in this segment from future. Just PIDF and taken out of the mix. They have the pricing power. They can offset PIDF amount, and they are able to do a high margin cross selling, credit pay, loans pay, AI sound boxes pay. That is what is giving the wings which Paytm has right now. This is what I wanted to discuss with you from a Paytm standpoint. I hope, I know this is a very long video. Please try to watch it and please leave any comments, any questions, or if there is agreement, disagreement about the company. I will happy to engage in a discussion and know your thought. Thank you. Thanks a lot.